What is up, comic fam? Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Legion of Comics. This is At Week's End, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and so much more. But before we get into any of the amazing things to talk about from this awesome week in comics, check this out. So we don't have a lot of time, so let's not waste any of it. I'm going to go and bring in the co-host, starting with the treat of the evening. My heterosexual life partner from the Great White North has returned. Here he is, the now CBCA nominated channel himself, the Comic Vet. Congratulations on your nomination, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And congratulations to you too, sir.
Yeah.
And congratulations on our shared nomination.
Yes. So for those that watch the channel know that Chris and myself do a collaborative video that we've been doing together for a long time now. And pop right there on that channel. That's the channel. You go to that channel, you subscribe to it every Sunday, which today is Sunday. The video post where him and I both give you our top pick going into the week blind and why you should consider picking it up, whether it be for spec value, cover art value, or the one I always go with, reading value.
It's true. It's true. I'm the one that goes in the left field. Mark is always right there. Just, I'm excited to read this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a comic reader. I can't help it.
Yeah.
That's just the first and foremost. So let's bring in the other co-host for this evening. First off, Ryan cannot be here for tonight, but for amazing reasons. He's celebrating a fantastic event with his family that we're not going to spoil or steal his thunder, that we're super excited about next Sunday for him to get to come back and tell y'all about. But as people being in the know, we would just like to say, Ryan, we love you. Congratulations, and we're excited for you, my guy.
Yeah, man. Thinking of you, brother.
So let's go and bring in another loved individual in the community. From hailing all the way from across the galaxy, from the next sector over, we have Mr. Paul Cook from Sector 2815. How are you?
I'm good. So now I feel like I remember on Sesame Street, like one of these things is not like the others.
Well, you're definitely a part of both of our channels in numerous ways.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I didn't want to waste a lot of time, and I wasted a lot of time on those intros. So Chris, as people watch the show know, is on a new schedule with his work. So it's a treat to be able to get him on at all on Sunday nights right now. So I'm just going to burn through and say hello to the people in the chat without going into detail. But what's up, Las Crucias? White Shadow is in there. Chop and Drop. What is going on? Hoarder's Hide. How's it going? We got Flash 6792 already in there. How are you doing tonight, Robert? I'm glad you all can make it. So tonight we're going to structure it a little bit differently so that we can kind of touch on a few different things. Chris, we got him for about half an hour. So we're going to go and just talk a little She-Hulk first, and then we're going to get into a couple comics. And then me and Paul will just kind of freeform it from there. There's a lot to talk about and some major comic book announcements for DC fans that came out of this week. But kicking it off, Chris, Paul, y'all both watched episode 1 of She-Hulk, right?
I did.
Sure did.
What did you think? What did y'all think?
I really enjoyed it until she stole Deadpool's thunder. Then I thought it was just good from the rest of the way out. I knew that they were going to modernize the whole blood transfusion thing. Like, as a reader of the Fantastic Four in the 80s and into the 90s, she became the powerhouse portion of the Fantastic Four when Ben had enough of the drama and decided to leave. So that was my introduction to her. And then I got back. Being whom I am, I had to go back and get some backstory and everything. And I found out, that she's a lawyer by trade, that she's a cousin of Bruce Banner, and it was through a blood transfusion that she became who she is as a superhero. I thought it was cool the way they did it this way. You're spending time together and blah, blah, blah. And again, the whole comedic value seems to be still over the top, but I get for this platform, that's what they're going to go with. If it was maybe in a movie theater, maybe it would be considerably more dramatic, maybe a little bit more dark than what it was. Like but the whole breaking the fourth wall, it really left me with a sour taste in my mouth because that's Deadpool's shtick, and Deadpool's
also She-Hulk.
To the end.
In all fairness, that's She-Hulk's shtick before Deadpool.
That's her comics. Yeah. Her comics is that, yeah.
Right, her comic, but still on the okay.
Oh, I got you. Since discussing it in the comics, you think they should have left that alone because Marvel doesn't need 2 fourth world breakers in the MCU. Is what I get that.
Right, because Deadpool. Right. Well, actually, he's already been introduced in.
He's had a strong outing, very successful outing. He's known as that at this point. When I see it, I just think, look at all these ambush bug ripoffs. That's what I think. But needless to say, to your point though, Chris, that was my thing. I think that they did a good job being very accurate or true to the essence of the sensational She-Hulk, which is volume 2, with the little campiness, the quirkiness, the breaking of the fourth wall. I just think that none of it landed for me, in the sense that, like, I watched that whole show. It is jokes from start to finish per the norm with Disney stuff, but that fits sensational She-Hulk. But it didn't stand out because that's everything that they do. So where this show had they taken, like, say they take the characters and keep their essence correct for all of the characters and not just this one, she would have stood out and this would have been a treat. It would have been enjoyable to laugh at. It would have, but that's how everything is. So it just looked cookie cutter to me, just, I don't know. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Daredevil showing up, especially in yellow.
So to me, I think Pop said it best. To me, it was just kind of meh. It was like it wasn't on the level of a Peacemaker for me, but it was better than Moon. But it was better than Moon Knight to me. But the thing that to me that stands out, why I didn't think it didn't hit all the right things for me either, is because the most excited I got watching it was when the Sakaar ship showed up, and I was wondering, why is that there? And I'm thinking it's World War Hulk coming at some point.
Was it a Sakaar ship?
It was definitely a Sakaar ship.
I thought so too.
I didn't know. I didn't think nothing of it because they just don't revisit it or this or that. I had heard rumors that MODOK is supposed to be making an appearance in this show. So I mean, like, I take him all with a grain of salt, but I just like, okay, random ship that we don't visit, care, take.
So
they didn't address it.
The one thing that you touched on that I've really just been thinking about was, so first when Disney Plus introduced, when we were introduced to the MCU on this type of media via Disney Plus, WandaVision was first, and then at the time it was very confusing, and looking back, to me it's aged well, especially her performance.
Yes.
Now, after that we got Winter Soldier and Falcon and / Captain America. Now, if She-Hulk would have been dropped in right after that, because those were two incredibly serious and dramatic, and especially with Winter Soldier and Falcon,
both of those went dark.
Yeah, they were dark and heavily action filled. Now, if we would have had this one right after that, I wonder how positive the reviews would be compared to what we have right now coming out of this lackluster Thor offering. Because I wonder if
and Moon Knight, because despite Moon Knight, if you just describe it on paper, it sounds or comes off dark, but when you watch it, it's just a bumbling buffoon of a show.
Yeah,
like in all arenas, like it just. So I don't know. It's just a weird. They don't have like, I don't know. There's weird right now for me.
But with us knowing that we're getting Tim Roth and the Abomination and a little bit of our new Sorcerer Supreme, the fingers crossed that it goes up from here. I thought I read.
Wong's kind of comic relief from day one, and he that's how he's played in everything. And every time we see him, he's joked. So I don't expect this to get less jokey. I expect it to get more jokey, and I expect it to get a little bit like it's going to get very like girl power. Like that's how the comic was to a degree, and also like it's no secret. And this Disney is like it's their goal to be very like open with like how they're advocates for everything, and this is going to be their show that's advocating feminism. So I expect to have like already in Disney properties, especially of late, men are idiots, women are strong and have to save them and everything. They kind of overcorrect.
There was a book on the bookcase behind her and their opening scene that talked about badass woman. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not.
I didn't, but they had that in that it stood out to me, that moment where she told Banner that she was better at him than controlling her anger because she's a woman and she has to, or she has to listen to guys that can't do their job, tell her how to do her job. And if she doesn't control her anger, she'll get killed on the street. And all I can think about is, where the do you live?
Well, like, maybe in her world as a lawyer.
I don't understand where she lives. You know what I mean?
Like I'm okay with the whole girl power thing.
Oh,
I do agree that it, especially since the last Thor offering and now into this, is it over the top? No, but is it teetering there? It sure is.
Yeah,
And
and I think that's going to do that with the
I hope
feminism
that I don't
angle.
come across as being sexist, but I'm ready for some dramatic, heavily dramatic, action-filled stuff like WandaVision, like Falcon Winter Soldier, which at the time we didn't think was all that good. But again, now looking back, it's better. Poor
Oh,
Hulk.
no.
Yes, I've been waiting for Mark to just sound off.
He used to be
on,
able to stop a kaiju-sized space
Yeah.
beast, Avengers 1. Now he can't hold back a Jeep. Great advertisement for Jeep. Yeah, and I have no problem with the feminism thing. It's if they start sacrificing story for it, like that gets a little that you ruin stuff. Like there's a again, I have no problem with like any of the messages that are in any of this stuff. It's how you present it. The same thing I said about comic books as well. Like if you're sacrificing your story for your just to be an advocate, what are you doing writing a comic? Why aren't you just out there being an advocate? There's a
Right. I think
balance.
Mars just said it best. Like if Mars says something, then we have to take it for fact.
Miss Mars says, I hate all the man hating stuff. It just upsets me. Girl power is fine, but do you have to make the Hulk seem weak? Yeah, that's my point. The whole balance. You don't have to make men out to be evil, bad. We murder women just for having an attitude. Like that's not even proper representation of the universe that Disney's presented in these 25 plus properties. Like it doesn't make sense. What is going on, Logic Blaster? And someone made the comment to me, maybe that's something a woman would say. I don't know. I seriously doubt it. I've never heard a woman my entire life tell me that they have to watch their anger or they'll be murdered on the street. And it was weird her saying that to Banner, because if you look at his resume of what he's gone through, it just wasn't really thought through. But I enjoyed the special effects in it. I thought that was phenomenal. Like this is a television show, not a theatrical release, and it's still, I think that came out great. The action scenes were cool. I like that we got the backstory of Banner and Tony having a deeper friendship, because we did see that attachment, like especially from Age of Ultron forward.
Yes,
That
part was good writing. Like to go back there and just a one sentence in a film, bring it forward here to where it's, just a part of Banner's life.
Yeah, I've never heard a woman say this is a woman, by the way, for those that are watching.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think they kind of wasted? Who was Titania was the villain that came in at the very end, right?
Oh my god!
Like
I don't think they wasted her. I think it was a ridiculous scene. I think her design was god awful, but like especially with the current run, Titania and her are like frenemies. Like they in that first book they got together, they fought and like decided we're going to fight just to vent with each other because we can actually hit each other and get our, you know what I mean? So they're frenemies. So I think that character is going to be a frenemy in this series. Like burn her now, don't make her like a big villain kind of thing, just kind of a reoccurring thing. Let's see, not to get political, but over half of entertainment anymore is strong women characters. Almost all horror movie action is the only one that's a little more the male side. Yeah. Kevin Feige was very open about it after the success of Wonder Woman. He said that he was going to push to switch the MCU over to I can't. He said what percentage he was aiming for, but man, did he get there! He got there fast. So I think that's one reason it's so noticeable. You had in the Loki TV show the female Loki and Tom Hiddleston telling her and us, the viewers, really that you're better than me. You learned all this on your own. I couldn't do that. You're so much better than me. Hawkeye. We switched over to Kate Bishop. We have Riri coming. Shuri is Black Panther. 3 Captain Marvels. She-Hulk. Captain Britain. Don't know what's going on with that character right now. Henry Cavill, maybe? No, I don't know. Supreme. It's just they've switched all over. It's a lot of them. Just like Mark and myself, frenemies. Exactly, Kyle. His middle initial, by the way, is B.
Interesting.
Yeah. So earlier I was putting together a package for Kyle while me and Paul were talking, and Paul brought up a good point. He said, I hope his middle initial doesn't start with a certain letter. I said, yeah. Oh, wow. Me too. Let me ask him. But it's a B, Paul.
Thank you. I feel much better now.
He said his parents wanted to go with a different name, but thank God they didn't. They went with the one that he's got. I assume the murdered on the street thing was likely due to her being a lawyer who are often subjected to death threats. Just saying. I wouldn't assume that because she was saying, well, it wasn't the stance she was taking. She was taking the stance of a woman, not as a lawyer. And that would be very cool if that was kind of like a slight nod because, in the comics, she got shot. She didn't have a car wreck. She got shot because of her job. So that would have actually been a more specific callback. DC is really trying to force strong female leads on us based on their last 2 Batman choices. Paul is a savage. He hates Batman so much.
Again, the Batman, much like Raiders of the Lost Ark, take that lead character out of there, it still happens. Nothing changes. The end result is still the end result.
Holy Paul. Or Scott, I'm sorry. All right, so She-Hulk, I would give it, like, if I had to, which I do have to, if I have to put it on the scale, I would give it a yellow, right there in the middle. I don't think it didn't do anything to impress me. It didn't do anything to disappoint me, really. And I'm still planning on watching the next episode. With Miss Marvel, I did episode 1-2 finale. Worked great. I did 1 and 2. Got like this is a cheeseball show. I don't care for it. Then I watched the finale. I'm like, good, very good. But I'm excited to see what they do with this. I love the Gamma characters. Heartbreaking for Hulk right now is just, oh. But I think we're getting past it. We don't have Smart Hulk for much longer. There's no way.
God willing.
Yeah.
So y'all want to switch it up and hit on a comic book or two before we lose Chris?
Sure.
So were you, like, you're the only person that read the Avengers, was it 1 million BC?
Right. So last week on Two Cool Guys, Mark's pick and my pick was Avengers 1 million BC, and Mark's was One Bad Day.
Do a Powerball. I did a public service announcement on this book.
Right. In the end, we should have both went with One Bad Day. Not that Powerbomb wasn't bad. Not that Powerbomb wasn't bad.
Was fire.
Not that it wasn't
bad. One Bad Day was next level.
Mm-hmm. But One Bad Day, in my opinion, outside of DC versus Vampires Titanian run, this is the best book DC's put out this year.
You just can't help yourself with a stupid vampire book.
I love it.
I'm going to catch up.
Just like a vampire, it is the promo that won't die.
They might as well call it Crisis on Vampire Earth,
and it's sucking more people would pay
attention to it because it's not campy. It's so bloody good.
They've
read this book.
I actually do like it. I do like it. And actually, Chris, I don't know, but the past couple weeks I've actually mentioned to Mark that how good it is.
It's so bloody good.
Oh, I don't have a problem at all
Unintended.
with it. I just die laughing listening to Chris push it so much. He always finds a way.
Yeah, but see, even Mars is saying, like, there's a lot of people I've turned on to it. It's actually really good. It's probably Tynan's best superhero stuff he's done in ages.
Yeah, I don't think anybody that's read it has said that it's bad whatsoever. Like, everyone who reads it says this is
the
awesome.
Rosenberg spinoff is, it's okay, it's okay. But the Tynan stuff, it's been so good. Anyways,
that's Tynan's fault that I didn't read it, not mine. Right. I read issue 1. It hit the DC Universe app, so I'll read it via there. Anyways, sorry.
So when Avengers 1 million BC was when it was introduced a few years ago, I thought it was good. We had the team come together, a ragtag team, the first offering of all these quintessential avatars that are well known across Marvel Comics come together for the first time, led by Odin and a Mjolnir that wasn't necessarily always working for him. Had a little bit of a mind of its own, and they took on like a rogue celestial, and it was good and lots of action. This
was not that.
This is not Nick Spencer level of Amazing Spider-Man writing, but Jason Aaron, my man, when you put together the original Ghost Rider, the original Phoenix, the original Sorcerer Supreme, the original Black Panther, along with Odin, Mjolnir, and Starbrand, which is kind of a red-looking Hulk, you gotta have action. This book does not deliver in that. This is just a drama where Phoenix goes to Thor's mother and says to her, hey, it might be a good idea for you to breed with Odin to have a child that could look after the planet when we're not here anymore. That's
is this a one shot?
Yes, it's a one shot. Thank God. Jason Aaron, my man, if you watch this, all of us would agree that your Thor run is arguably the best Thor run in the last 15 years. This is a sad offering compared to such a run. And with all due respect, I do like his Avengers stuff, but this, you can't bring these people together and kill Black Panther on the second page. You can't kill him off at the hands of a frost giant and then totally remove the whole idea of Wakanda and only talk about it in a few blurbs here and there. You can't do that, my man. This is a sad offering for such a fantastic idea to bring together all these quintessential avatars that are so important to Marvel Comics, and then have them come together like the three wise men at Jesus's birth. I get that he tried to make it a little biblical and try to represent Thor as this holy offering to the planet Earth, but he dropped the ball. It seriously dropped the ball. And for everyone that's watching, if you picked up this book on my recommendation,
I'm sorry.
I will never offer a Jason Aaron book for the remainder of this year. For the remainder of this year. Mm-hmm.
He recommended this on an award-nominated show's recommendation. Oh, it happens, man. It happens.
No, but that's just it, though. Like I said, I thought it was incredibly exciting that we were going to have the continued story of, like. Don't get me wrong. There are a few moments. Ghost Rider is riding on a fire-bound woolly mammoth that looks cool as hell. Like, what else is he going to ride? Like, right, honestly, exactly. I thought he was going to ride like an oversized wolf or something. But he shows up on a woolly mammoth, and I'm like, all right.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I kind of want it just for that aspect.
Good for you. Good for you. That's pretty good. Good for you. But again, I can't pronounce the first Sorcerer Supreme, the man who created the green. Yeah, right. That's barely just a cameo. Like again, another important character to the history of comic books. Iron Fist. It's a woman that is that's the avatar of the Iron Fist in this. Again, just a cameo. This is all about Odin trying to marry Phoenix. Phoenix, the avatar of Phoenix, realizing that she can't play housewife. She can't be a wife. She is far too important to the protection of the earth. And that's when she decides, if I'm not here, and Phoenix goes off to another planet to protect it, because Phoenix is not stuck to the earth, it's the avatar that is, then who's going to protect the earth? So she decides to go to Thor's mother, who's already had a bunch of children, and refers to herself, as some sort of horse breeder, like that she's like being bred like a horse. And at that point, it lost me. And so, yeah, not everything can be a home run. Every so often, you have to walk to first to get on base, right? So, cool concept. They dropped the ball. Way too dramatic. Not enough action. Not like the first offering we had. But apparently now they're going to flash forward a little bit in time to where we're going to have an Avengers Western team. So if my dad were still alive, I may recommend it to him because he was into Westerns, but I'm sure it's going to be around the same little bit as this, unless it has action in it.
It almost sounds like they're just doing that. If they're doing it in the 1 million BC and they're doing it in the West, it almost sounds like they're just doing it to sell toys.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I give it like 1 maple leaf out of 5. And that one is because Ghost Rider showed up on a fiery woolly mammoth. Pimp. Looked pimp. Okay. Now let's talk about
that shit show of a book. Let's talk about something that was great. So this was shocking. This kind of blew some minds this week. I saw like I read it on Tuesday toward the front of my stack, and I had to sit there for a minute. I'm like, dude, what did I just read? Like even as I'm reading through it, I'm like, dude, this is really, really well done. like on numerous levels, on the character writing, the dialogue, the structure of it, Mitch Gerard's art, like everything about this book lends to other aspects of this book, and it comes together very, very well as a it's like a master class example of a single issue story comic book. It's just a one shot. There's going to be other one shots in this Batman One Bad Day anthology here, focusing on a different Rogues Gallery character each time with a different creative team each time. They started strong. They started with a very hot or cold kind of creative team. You either like him or you don't. But Tom King was on this one with Mitch Gerard, same exact team that brought us Mr. Miracle, another one that's critically acclaimed. And dude, I was not ready for this. What they were attempting to do, and I think that they landed it with both feet, was to give Riddler like a more definitive, not origin, but give him a kind of add to his origin while giving him more of a stronger position as a villain and not just a joke. Because we have all these moments where you have these great villains, but once you defeat them, they've been beat. You know, how dangerous is Noel anymore? How many times can you defeat I think the Joker's the oddball of that because he's always dangerous, but how many times can
they reference on the oddball part of him as well in that?
Yes. So how many times can a single villain like still be a threat? And that's what they just got around. They just got around that problem with this book. So what did y'all think of it?
If I could just go first, Paul. The only thing, so right away when I picked up this book, I actually noticed interesting. They're using the same font and style that they did for the Killing Joke back in the mid '80s.
Intentionally, yeah.
And so when I read through this book for the first time, because I actually went through it twice, I realized, okay, so they dabbled in the formula of the Killing Joke, where they took right. So if you look, you'll see that it is the same font and style setup as the Killing Joke. So they kind of use that same formula where, okay, now we have modern day Riddler being a terrorist in Gotham, and we're gonna take it back to a little bit of his backstory and make you feel bad for the guy, and then we're gonna flash you forward to where something incredibly dramatic happens, and then we're gonna introduce Batman in there. Whereas with the Killing Joke, the book was centralized around Batman modern day, Joker past tense, and Joker being a terrorist. Batman is almost a secondary character in this story, as far as I'm concerned. I
just
think
like the Killing Joke, it wasn't Batman's story either.
But Batman was more of a centralized figure in that one, whereas I think Riddler's father and the Riddler's teacher were almost more of important characters than what Batman was in this.
Big time. It's his book.
And my God, I mentioned this to Mark, maybe online and backstage. I think this is the best DC story that's come out this year, singularly. And I get that it has a beginning and an end. But this is just incredible writing. The interior with all the watercolors. There's no weak page when it comes to the artwork in this, and you do see 3 pages of violence, but you don't see the violence that happens to the Riddler as a young boy. But you get to see the violence that the Riddler commits and has happened around him, because he's no longer going to lift a hand. He's using his mouth as his weapon. He's purposely removed the campiness from his own character and has turned himself into a master terrorist the way that the Joker does, but the Joker does it with his own hands. And this time the Riddler just opens his mouth and Gotham bows, including Batman. And my God, for a little bit, and it was just, I just thought it was incredible. And then we had the last page happen. I was just like, oh, what did we just witness here? Did he just succumb to the same thing that happened to Mr. Oates? Yeah. Paul?
Yeah, so I thought it was tremendous. One of the best things I read in a long time. I was struck by the similarities to the Killing Joke. I was struck by in the Killing Joke, it's one bad day, but how many people have bad days? In this story, how many people have a bad day? You know, is it just the Riddler when he gets caught on the test? Is it certainly John Oates had a bad day, right?
Yes.
Batman had a bad day because he didn't understand the game that the Riddler was playing, and that's how John Oates ended up being killed. But then the comparisons to the Killing Joke to me are there are two scenes, one in the Killing Joke, one in here, where Batman and the villain have an extended discussion with each other.
The face
Both
off,
of them happen in a pouring rain, right?
Yes.
And then at the end of the Killing Joke, just like at the end of this, you're left wondering, does Batman come up with the ultimate solution to both? There's always a question in the Killing Joke: does Batman kill the Joker? We don't know. And then same thing here in the Riddler. The other thing that I laughed at, because I mean, I always wonder, I always kind of laugh at, like, is Jeff Johns always trying to just kind of stick it to Alan Moore? I kind of wonder here, is Tom King trying to stick it to Alan Moore when he says that the Riddler was the one who gave the Joker the concept
Yes.
to do what he
They
did,
referenced the Killing Joke in this,
right?
Yeah.
He's
Like,
like,
giving
I
him
had
the
it and I gave it to him for a song,
Yeah.
For a
So
song, yes.
for just if you haven't read it and you're wondering, the premise of this is the book starts off with a guy leaving work, and everything is from his POV. Him grabbing his stuff at his desk, him talking to his wife about what to do about their kid, and their kid being shy about going to. So I think it was like some kind of practice of some sort.
Soccer, yeah.
And he's getting his stuff, and he's going down the elevator, talking to co-workers as he leaves, and he's walking out, and then the next panel is just black, 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 and then we see from security footage that it went black because the Riddler walked up straight behind him and shot him in the head just to get himself arrested. Yes, and that was really cool because Tom King, again, comparison to Alan Moore, he has to structure these panel layouts. He's not just writing a script, but kind of like how Alan Moore was so detailed with it with Dave Gibbons and how he wanted his panels and what he needed to flow it. Like there has to be some kind of creator like agreement with his artists on these books,
right?
Because
the artists didn't have freedom.
Yeah, the panels are part of the story, and it's not Stan Lee, Jack Kirby-esque at all. It's a lot more intentional. But he ends up getting put in Arkham, and he really starts showing this new side of himself where he's serious, he's mad, he's mean. He's not even letting them transport him without allowing the guards to know that I'm going to kill your children if you touch me. And they're like, oh, whatever. And he starts naming them off. Like pretty much social security codes, addresses, where they're at currently. Like
to all the guards.
Yeah.
But he speaks to one at first and then goes around the circle.
So that's what they use the backstory to kind of help fortify, is that it showed him growing up in it looked like a prestigious school for young men, and his dad was the headmaster of it, like really pushing into him, leaning into him. We find out that he is the son of this very well-esteemed, successful headmaster of the school and a prostitute who his dad had hooked up with. And so he always has that kind of lingering over him. His dad has that, I don't know, that resentment when he looks at him and he doesn't want to see any failure out of him. And his dad even acknowledges that he's smarter and better than all his peers around him, but he still expects excellence, no slipping. So just all that pressure on him eventually took him to a day where he broke. He absolutely broke. He, as a young child, he had one bad day where the one teacher that was trying to show leniency toward him, who kept giving him these tests, and he would put a riddle on the end of the test that he kept flunking. He kept flunking them. And the teacher explained to him, it's there.
Third best in the class.
Yeah, third best.
Third best in the class. His dad would beat him up for it.
Yeah, and the teacher explained to him these riddles aren't there to get right or wrong. They're there to see that not everything can be studied for, that life is going to happen. But he ends up viciously killing the teacher at the school in broad daylight, on the middle of the basketball court outside, just talking to him, talking to him like it's normal every day. Like he's going to try, I'm going to study harder, while he's bashing his face down. Like if something flipped. It was nuts. It was wild. So we got that cool backstory of what really pushed the Riddler over and ruined the relationship with his father.
Right. And the reason why he goes off is because what happened is the Riddler looks into a file to see what the next question is going to be on the test, because he wants to get the riddle right. And so he then goes and he answers that on the test, and he finds out that the professor changed the riddle at the last minute, but the Riddler wrote down the answer to the riddle before. So the professor knew that he cheated, and he was deathly afraid that he was going to tell his father, and so he couldn't let that happen, and so he just ended up killing him.
Real quick, we have CBCA nominated Taylor Winder himself,
Nice.
nominated for his comic book reviews. My man, how are you tonight? Yeah, that was sad. It hit a point where it was really just sad what he was going through. Now there's a moment in this book that I was talking to Pops on. I had to read him the panels, and Batman trying to figure out what's going on with the Riddler, because the Riddler kept doing all these things, causing all these deaths inside of Arkham, asking to talk to Batman. Batman wasn't biting. He didn't want to play his game until he had more information. Why did he kill this man in broad daylight? Why is he committing these atrocities? So he seeks out his father. And there's this moment where he gets to his father's cabin. His dad's pretty much just looks like a drunk, old, poor guy at this point. Batman gets there, opens the door, and his father fires off a shotgun round at him, misses him. Then he has him at dead to rights, point blank range. And Batman's like right in front of the shotgun. And I just have to read this because this was amazing. He said, despite the rumors in the press, I am not omnipotent. I have an unfortunate weakness for mercy that has too often led to careless mistakes and lingering pain. However, the moment you fired that gun at me, I lost my taste for any mercy. So as you pull that trigger, know that the weapon is aimed at you, that you are making a careless mistake, that your mistake will lead to lingering pain. And I'm like, what? Damn. And he just pulls off the trigger. Like, damn. Like, it was really cool, man. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, words were weapon in this book.
The whole book
Yeah.
for Batman as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he sets up the Riddler to be the number one villain of Batman. He talks about how he would go to Wayne Manor and he would look at Dick and Damian and everyone sleeping, and he knew about the safe in the study, and he knew about the safe that he had in the in
Two
his
female
bedroom
Robins
that only had one pearl in it, right? And so and then he
Scratch
says,
pearl.
and he's like, and I may kill a Robin, but maybe it's going to be Stephanie or Cassandra, who knows? Like, so he basically was telling Batman, I know everything about you. You know, it was just amazing.
And he thought he had to do the riddles because that kind of touched on the childhood, how he was told he needs to have more fun. He needs to have more fun. So that switch breaking in him as a child that led him down this life, it created that impulse that I have to be doing these riddles. I have to be doing this. I have
creating a labyrinth.
Yeah, so he's got to the point where he's gotten past that.
It referenced the giant typewriter. It referenced a giant typewriter. If you know any Batman history back to the Silver Age or whatever, the giant typewriter is something that's famous. So,
but yeah, I enjoyed that portion where it was the backstory and then the killing of the teacher to cover up the fact that he had gotten one question wrong and like he cheated his way through the test, and that there was the old bait and switch and he fell for it. The comparison there to the Joker going to the Acme company or whatever company it was, and robbing it or attempting to rob or whatever, and then finding out that his pregnant wife had died or whatever afterwards. And just the quiet comparisons there are there, and it's totally, in my opinion, not a ripoff. Like I said, it's just a formulation they followed because they reference it, you know, with the apartment. I gave the addresses to him, and the Joker just is not a planner, he's a doer. And it's just like, oh, this is just so good.
I feel bad for the other creative teams that follow this. There ain't no way. And I don't know if the intentions of all of the Batman One Bad Day one-shots are to kind of level up our villains or amplify them. I don't know if they're all going to be set in the same time era, or I don't know what kind of creative restrictions or goals that DC has for this anthology as a whole, but I don't know where you go from here.
Yeah,
I honestly don't.
I hope they don't try to mimic the Killing Joke, because this is a one and done that can stand up against the test of time now, the way that the Killing Joke has done, in my opinion. So I hope they go original, or if they're going to borrow, say, from Long Halloween or whatever, like, and use a formula that's been played out before, like Year One or something, or even the Dark Knight or play it out.
The Mr. Freeze one might go to the Nora Freeze. Maybe that's the bad day, you know.
But
we know that we're all supposed to be like you can. By the time this is over, you're supposed to be able to take the Killing Joke, put it with the other 8 or 9 of these, and you have a complete anthology. That's what it's supposed to be. So we'll see. I hope they don't borrow from. I just don't know how you write a better story than that one shot, man. That was crazy.
They came out of the gates hard with this one. Yeah.
Yeah, if Two-Face comes and says, "Oh, by the way, I gave the idea to the Riddler, who gave it to the Joker," then we'll be
That's it. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah, but
With the ambiguous ending, it might be a Black Label book, and we touched on that ambiguous ending and that was one of the comparisons that Paul made with the Killing Joke.
Yeah, the whole the last final arc of this story where the Riddler now has gone into terrorist mode and the entire city has taken a knee and the banks have said we'll deal with the loss. So give him whatever he wants. Do what he
Don't
wants.
report it.
Nope.
Maxie Zeus is no longer a god.
Yeah, like what? Like it's just like my God. Like what do we got? And Batman lets him literally walk away from Arkham, and I was just like, okay, where are we going with this? I'm running out of book. There's not that many pages left. And like we didn't even need that. It doesn't matter the amount of pages that were left. You know,
the ending was phenomenal as well. When you see him, he gets his little reign on the city while they kind of figure out what to do about it. And Batman puts the okey doke on him, changes the little radio. Riddler thinks he's listening in on Gordon, and Batman speaking on a rooftop while Riddler's getting ready in front of a mirror, keeps trying on different hats, and then pulls it down one time, and there he is behind him. Cut to black panel.
The way that happened to Mr. Oates.
Yeah. And I love ambiguous endings like that. Like just like with Suicide Squad, Get Joker. Like when you can make your own determination, but it doesn't matter. You really don't know, and that's the best part. Like, did Batman break his rule to actually stop this madness from happening? Did he just get his team set up in place? Did he figure out more details on the Riddler's current network that he was using to pull off these power moves? Because like y'all mentioned, he wasn't the one pulling the strings or the triggers. You mess with him, the trigger man's gonna fire somewhere else. You know, like it was just good. What is going on, Nick, Roscoe? How are y'all doing? Coco Love Chevy came up in the house. What is up, brother?
The only thing I can see them doing is when Batman lets him walk away from Arkham through that gate to the point when Batman shows up behind him in the mirror. That reign of terror, we may see a story of that at some point, but who knows? Maybe they'll leave it alone. Maybe they'll leave it alone. But it could be an interesting, say 6-issue miniseries what the Riddler does, where the banks surrender and the police force is helpless to him and everything. But yeah, all right, guys, enjoy the show. Thanks for letting me pop in for a little bit. But yeah, the DC's firing, man. DC is firing. Marvel, come on, guys. Your franchise title is almost right back to where Nick Spencer left it. So. All right, guys. Have a good night. Take care.
Chris, take it easy.
Take care,
See
Chris.
you guys. Yep. Bye-bye.
So after that was a long one, but it was well worth. Like I said, it was oversized book. But we're going to cut back to probably the most exciting announcement from DC Comics, at least for these two Jokers sitting here on your screen. Paul, tell them what happened this week.
The JSA is back,
and not just in an appearance in Dark Crisis.
Jeff Johns. The JSA is back.
This is a golf clap, I've been told.
Everyone's holding up their quiet sign.
Yeah, Jeff Johns is like, that's one of his passion projects, has been forever. He created Stargirl, and you can look that up yourself and everything, but why it's such a passion project and why he has so much love for the JSA and does them so right. But his 2007 run of the Justice Society of America is probably one of the top 5 best comic book runs in the history of comics. And he just, the fact that they're back is astounding. Like, since my time on YouTube, I've been here for like almost 2 years or something like that. Since I've been here, I've been seeing JSA praises and stuff like that have gotten me and Paul to become friends, and we bonded over stuff like that. Brother John's Comics is another one who Digger Jim sings just JSA praises as well. They've been gone since the New 52 era of comic books. When that launched and we started over from ground zero, there wasn't a Justice Society of America. We did get some love of those characters on Earth too, but they were never brought in proper. And after the New 52 dissolved, we come to find out by the events of Doomsday Clock that it was Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen that is the reason why a JSA does not exist. And they returned in the pages of Doomsday Clock. And since then, they've undergone numerous behind-the-scene problems, from shakeups at DC to people having problems with Jeff Johns to timing for the creators. Everything that has gone wrong could possibly have gone wrong. Well, that has all ended this past week. The people that were blowhards against Jeff Johns are no longer there. Jeff Johns' schedule is allowed for it because it was supposed to drop last year, but it was officially announced that this November solicitations are up, covers are up, books are done, they're in hand, they're ready to rock. The Justice Society of America will be coming back and in a big way. We'll have the Golden Years one-shot kicking us off to an ongoing JSA book, as well as a 6-part limited series, Stargirl and the Missing Heroes or something like that. It'll be her looking for legacy characters associated with other Golden Age characters, like the Freedom Fighters even.
Yeah. And on the main title, it's going to be Michael Janine is going to be or Mikhail Janine is going to be the artist, who is a fantastic artist. I remember him all the way back when he did Grayson, way back then. He's done a lot of Batman work, but it's just incredible. And and you're right. I mean, we were teased with a Jeff Johns Brian Hitch one, and I think he posted that page at one point,
Yeah.
not too long ago. But we were teased with that said that they were coming back, and then it was like they were nowhere to be found. So
Yeah.
Getting all this together at one time in November, I know what I'll be giving thanks for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, I've already reached out to my LCS. I've already reached out to look into getting my name on the list, because every LCS does stuff differently, but there's going to be some awesome covers out there. One of them is even a 90s homage, which looks amazing. Alan Scott is decked out in the Sentinel uniform. Dr. Fate's nowhere to be seen, but Fate is there. Because yes, we had the Ankh tattoo on his eye and everything. Like, dude, this is amazing. I need it. I cannot wait. And that just gets me even more excited for what's going on in Dark Crisis right now, because it only can assume that with what's going on in the event as a whole, that we've been told that these characters were coming in. We were shown that one page of them showing up finally, and we've seen a couple of preview pages of where they're actually in them. You have like Alan Scott leading a group of people. He's been really the only one that's shown up at all since New 52. He's been present in some of the other stuff that Joshua Williamson has done, but I'm excited for these characters to get front and center yet again. They deserve to be there. Like, they have a huge fan base, and especially with the Black Adam movie coming, this is what you're supposed to do. You fuel the characters while you have the gasoline to do it. And like, dude, I hope it sells well with Jeff Johns at the helm. It's guaranteed to be written well. That's a guarantee. This book will be fantastically written. So I hope everyone goes out there, talk to your LCS, get your orders in.
They've made nice with Jeff Johns. Now all they need to do now is make nice with Alex Ross and get some Alex Ross covers, and they can have lightning strike twice.
That would be insane. Can you imagine? Do I have them right here? Yeah, I do have them right here.
Mm-hmm. Aggressively relaxing. You did not miss Nightwing talk. Yeah, those are just.
That's the Johns and Ross run. Just insane.
But the ones that he did too, that were just the one character, the black background. Oh, he did like
the first 9 issues they did that, but they were also doing those covers before the Johns run as well. They did them for a while on the JSA run before it switched over to Justice Society of America run. But yeah, those are amazing. That's also where we get the first appearance of Cyclone. We get Damage, the Atom Smasher. The one that we're going to see in this movie is going to be, man, I think they're labeling Al Pratt, but Al Pratt he was kind of the opposite of big. So we'll see what they I think that I don't know if this is going to be like Al Pratt's grandkid or son, or what they're going to do about Atom Smasher in this movie, because in the comics Atom Smasher is Al Pratt's kid.
Right.
And I could have sworn on the little description, IMDb casting description, that it's Al Pratt, which doesn't make no sense. But in the Earth 2 stuff that Tom Taylor wrote, I do believe Al Pratt was the one over there, and he did get big. So maybe they're just pulling from different places. I don't know. What is going on? Aggressive. I did not read Nightwing this week. Did you get to it, Paul?
I did. It actually was really good. Tom Taylor again. It actually ends on a huge cliffhanger with basically Blockbuster having beat the crap out of Nightwing, and
Uh-oh.
his mask comes off, and he goes, "Dick Grayson," and that's where it ends.
That's a quick review.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens. There's like 21 pages before that, but
Like we talked about last, I think we were talking about Superman Son of Kal-El and compared it to Nightwing, how both of those titles are just paced where not too much meat and potatoes happens in the book, but they're always well done.
yeah, and Nightwing is coming up on 100, so I'm sure that he's doing some things to set up issue 100, because this was like 95, I think it was.
Oh god, it's getting close.
Yeah. So yeah, he's been on since like 78. He's been in almost 20 issues already. But yeah, basically, there is a whole bunch of things that goes on with the mayor again, and we see Batwoman and Maggie Sawyer are together, and Tom Taylor does a kind of like a meta thing between Maggie Sawyer and Batwoman, where they're like talking and they're like kind of referencing the fact that they were supposed to get married at one time, and Nightwing is going like, "Did I miss something?" And so he asked Batwoman, "Why didn't you guys get married?" And what I think is a totally meta moment. He says basically like stupidity and ignorance, and Batwoman is supposedly referring to herself, but I think Tom Taylor is referencing DC at the time, because it was a huge thing when John H. Williams III and Hayden Blackman were going to marry them off, and then editorially they told them that they couldn't do it, which is why they left the book. So,
see, it's good to know that kind of little detail. It just adds so much to it. Like when you were reading it, you just go, "Oh, burn!"
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah.
So let's see. There's a couple I'm going to get through kind of quick here because there's not much to them. Hulk number 8, Donny Cates finished his Banner of Hulk run. And if you were reading this before this run, that's exactly where it finishes. Trash. Horrible time to be a Hulk fan all around. Trash. They said that they're going to, I don't know why they would even attempt to, but they kept saying that they're going to get to the bottom of who would win Hulk versus Thor. Definitive answer in this story. They even said it in this specific issue numerous times over in the narration blocks. Never get to it. I'm glad they didn't, but needless to say, it was a waste of a crossover. There was some fighting, but it means nothing. It takes you nowhere. It was rough. Void Song finished the Aquaman Flash crossover. This was actually really fun. It's not in the main continuity. It's a standalone 3-issue miniseries, but it was cool. Alien invasion. Flash and Aquaman, the only one that can fight it off, and they do together, and they do it really well. Other ones that I burned through. No. Did you read Black Adam?
I did.
This is good. This is really good.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a slow burn right now, but it's still really good. And this issue was actually pretty tough. We kind of get an idea. Black Adam died in that last issue, and now what's the kid's name?
Malik,
who's a descendant of Adam, who's got his power, and he's also a med student, so he's trying to save him. And while he's dead on the table, we see Black Adam in hell fighting and dealing with things in hell and people that are tormenting and toying with. And there's some really cool action scenes in there. And Malik comes to find out that if he just shocks him over to Black Adam, maybe he can get him alive. And that's kind of like where it leaves us, is him putting some juice in him and bringing him back for a minute.
Yeah, I thought one of the interesting things I kind of laughed was when he's in hell, he fights basically this demon or whatever from hell, and she's named after the worst movie ever made, Ishtar. Yeah, Ishtar. I don't know if it is a thing in Hollywood that is. It was Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty. It's like in Hollywood circles. It's like one of the worst movies ever made.
I'm gonna have to look that up now. I did not know that. I will tell you this: I like the design of the guy who is ruling hell.
Yeah,
like he looked really cool, but then we ended up just offing that character. I didn't know if that was going to be like a reoccurring character in the book or something. But I actually picked up a variant for this one as well. This was insane.
Oh, that's nice. That is really nice.
Don't know who did it, but I'm gonna end up taking a picture with like my McFarlane figure one time, and then put that in the giveaway box.
Nice.
We couldn't pass it up. But yeah, so we left it with him being shocked back to life. It was fun.
Yep. The magic lightning brings him back.
What's another one you read? I know two that you read because we just recorded the video for when does that drop?
Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in the morning.
So because we're limited on time, Dark Crisis Flash and Dark Crisis Young Justice, both of these will have in-depth breakdown and reviews posted on his channel tomorrow from where we're doing the Dark Crisis deep dive. So because it's almost 10 o'clock, so I'm trying to be time conscious here. So we'll let those go over there. So be sure to check out his channel if you want to keep up with Dark Crisis, because we do that every week, or when the books come out, we do a Dark Crisis deep dive that posts on his channel. You read Do a Power Bomb.
I have it. I have not read it yet.
Then I'm not spoiling it. Some books are just too good to spoil for others. World's Finest.
I did read that, yes.
This was so fun. Continues to be and continues to get better. One of the best monthly titles on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
This is Mark Waid and Dan Mora. Dan Mora was on hiatus for this issue. It was an off issue while they have substitute artists that come in, and that's what happened with this one. He did say that he'll be back on the next one though. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. All right, the baby went to sleep by herself. Yeah,
and World's Finest, Mark Waid has said, and you seem to be working up to it, that what happens in World's Finest is going to have major implications for the DC universe as a whole.
Yes, and what he's referring to is the Batman versus Robin event that's coming up that is supposed to be taken from the pages of this, which we find out that Nezeth, is that whatever that demon's in there fighting in the first arc, he's buried on Lazarus Island. That's where his tomb is. So they kind of brought that in. But this one was just a kind of like a one shot inside the regular numbering just to get Dick Grayson back, because him and Supergirl in the events of the first arc went traveling through time, and he got lost in the time stream. And Superman and Batman go back and they gather him up and bring him back home, not before solving a mystery in very classic comic booky detective style fashion at the circus, which was it was fun. Taylor wants to have the Orangabang spoiled. The Orangabang was the name of the first set of combatants that our two primary characters from the Do a Powerbomb had to wrestle against. I'm not going to spoil it. It's a need read. It's a really good book. It really is. Yeah, and on top of that, Ryan will be back next week, who's also reading it. So we'll all just review that next week with Ryan. So what else did you read? I think that's it for what I had for my reads.
I read The Silver Coin, which if you haven't read it, it's a really good. It's an Image title. It's kind of like a horror thing. Basically, it's an anthology about this silver coin that has been passed down to different people in through history, and basically, it's a horror type thing about how what happens to the people who come into possession of this silver coin. So this one was a little bit out there, a little bit wild, but it was still really good. And it's Jeff Lemire and Michael Walsh and Jane Tinian III have done some stuff with it. So they're getting a lot of top tier creators.
Is it a different creative team every issue?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Nice. What was out there about this issue? I think I heard one about like a review about one with like a musician that had it early on.
Yeah. This was the most difficult one for me to follow of all the ones that I've read so far. Because it kept jumping between different times and different places, and it was like I just really had a tough time following this one. But the art is also, there's lots of people with their skin pulled off, and it's just like, if you like horror, like that kind of horror, this issue was the one for you. Nice.
Well, that's it for comics. There were a couple other little, I think I like fish for news announcements throughout the week, just because I have a hard time finding stuff half the time because I just don't watch that much news announcements. Normally, whatever Flo Dameron shares, that's what I know. Of the bottom of the podcast.
You probably haven't caught up on Harley Quinn, right?
That or Sandman.
if you watch Harley Quinn, this particular episode was all Joker, and there's a call out. There's a huge call out to Batman '89 in it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that last episode, I had to turn it off right when the Court of Owls thing was about to go down, because that's when a kid woke up. I'm like, nope, 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 nope. Stop this quick. Stop this quick. Yeah, I have to. Some shows I have to watch in between nap time and them running around in the back of the house, and that's one of them.
And Sandman, you mentioned Sandman. If you guys have followed Sandman and watched it, and you don't know, they dropped a bonus 11th episode this week.
So if you binged it on that first and second day, go back. There's more to watch.
Yep.
Did you watch that episode already?
I did. Yep. Kind of like it actually takes two stories in the Sandman run, as you know. I mean, he had like the Doll's House, which was like 7 or 8 episodes. You know, he had the first issue of Preludes and Nocturnes, which was 7 or 8 issues. But then they would always kind of drop like these one-off issues, and there are two stories that they put together to make this one episode that are of these like single issue things that they had done.
Nice. I'm looking forward to getting to it. I'm 4 episodes in, and I'm absolutely loving it so far. It's not one that you watch when you lay down for bed, because you'll just pass out. You have to be awake and paying attention.
Yeah, but I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, there are some changes obviously from the books, but it really does kind of stick really closely to the source material.
Well, Neil stuck really closely to the production on it as well, so I would expect nothing less. He'd come out in a lot of articles and stuff and talk about how happy he was with this product and how well that they did it. So I think I'm gonna enjoy it all the way through.
Yeah, they're hoping for a second season, but Neil Gaiman kind of said, he's obviously prodding people to go and watch it, but it also costs a lot to make, and Netflix just kind of cut a lot of stuff. They've been cutting things, so hopefully it'll make it to a second season.
We'll see. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, guys. I appreciate everybody watching, everyone who catches on the rewind. Be sure to hit that thumbs up on the way out if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be posting that 1,500 subscriber giveaway in the next couple of weeks here when I get it finished putting together. And check out Sector 2815 here on YouTube. And don't forget to hit those notifications, because tomorrow the Dark Crisis Deep Dive will be going live. And until next time, guys, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.